Now wow, people wey suppose talk through to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Maiyegun don't come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Can in the touchlight every corner, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Maiyegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Maiyegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make you shout, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. This man not the off in mind, oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Aha. Now him una don hear, all these bad politicians, them we call themselves politicians.
Hello there.
Maiyegun lawamo, lamo dododo. Maiyegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Maiyegun Live.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun diary, bó bá ṣe eré, àní Maiyegun máa wí. Maiyegun diary, ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun diary, diary Politico. Maiyegun diary,
They have kidnapped the chief imam of Owo, the same town attacked by terrorists almost same time last year, just a little bit over a year ago.
Ani Maiyegun lawamo dododo. Maiyegun diary,
Of course.
Ani esunraki. Maiyegun ti dé.
Thank you so much for joining me from wherever you are watching from. Share this broadcast. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends and tell them, Maiyegun today.
And yes, we like Lórí YouTube. And yes, we like Ọba bá gbé wúrẹ́. And yes, we like Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Thank you.
And yes, we like Presido bá rúfin o. And yes, we like
Somebody poisoned Wiki in 2018, and he is just telling us. They told him that his kidney, his liver, his main organs were gone. That was 2018. In case.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. And yes, we like
Somebody right there is like, how did he survive this long? 2018, PDP.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnragì. Ayé ẹ̀ súnragì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú.
Thank you. And I want to say welcome back once again to MaiyegunsDiary Politico. Of course, I am still recovering. The Sunday sermon today was kind of mad with all that disruption and all of that stuff. It wasn't a good one for a comeback. I was going to take a rest. Of course, a lot of people said, Maiyegun, you are still sounding like, you haven't really, you need more rest. Okay, don't worry yourself. And I said, okay, yeah, I was going to take rest. Then I just saw where Wike said he was poisoned by PDP. Now that is something I can possibly keep the rest, at bay. If you are not alarmed, fine. But he said many other things too. And tonight, we are going to delve into that. So read the caption of the broadcast. Read the description as well. Share it. Subscribe if you haven't. And by the time we get fully into this, we'll begin to take it one after the other, including the new ass old rock national security advisor on pipeline and protest. Here you guys. So share the broadcast if you are still here. Thank you. And I'm also going to see if I am going to last long to take calls, which means I won't be the one doing all the talking. The Agodi Emperor, and that is the Solo Makinde of Ibadan, Seyi Makinde of Ibadan, was at a kind of a gathering to celebrate with the Wiki that, you are the lion, the thunder, the fire, and all of that. And it was a moment for Wiri Wike to also share probably his own experience. Like, a lot of people have been so worried. What happened to Wiri Wike? What happened to him? He's lost so much weight. Was it because of the election stress or something else? So when he was with his people today, he dropped the bombshell. And somehow it is new sketchy. Who poisoned Wiri Wike in 2018? And which organ has Wiri Wike been using? What happened? Did he actually go through some life-changing medical procedures? Not that we are going to get answers, but a lot of you are already making up different things. Since the last you saw Wiri Wike that looked really, really shrunk. I'll look for that image. Okay. And a lot of you said, Wike is suffering from internal organ disruption. A lot of us on social media are actually like medical doctors when you go medical school. Once they look at your eyes, like they say, you are pregnant. 6 weeks. 5 months pregnant. And you'll be like, how did you know? I'm not pregnant. You get what I mean? So a lot of us kind of have that. So a lot of people said, Wike has been drinking thousands years old whiskey that he became so addicted to that everywhere you see, everywhere he's been seen, is always drunk. And according to people, his drinking or alcohol consumption became so excessive that people around Wike were beginning to feel kind of concerned that something is not right. Now you know what happened. Wike was poisoned. And it's going to tell all of us the story. I know your speculation will still be your speculation, but this is for education. From him, it's rare for them to tell you what they are actually going through, even though they spend a lot of money on a foreign medical treatment. I'm still coming to the full show. But we'll start with this one, where the Wike's Thanksgiving and all that happened. Let's start with that.
And I was to attend that Thanksgiving on a Sunday. From that Sunday, I never came out, I never came down from my room. It was bad. There are words I don't want to use so that it don't look somehow. But those who attended the January 1st state banquet of 2019, we know that I never spoke that day. I just sat down there and I told my deputy governor to speak on my behalf. People didn't know what was going on. After that banquet, 12 midnight, I was taken out of the country because I thought it was over. When we got to Beirut, the doctors looked at me and I was looking at them. They were not telling me anything. They just said, look, we have to do so many tests. I was just not talking. They came by the next morning and said, look, it was bad. My kidney had gone. My liver had gone. And they were looking at me. I don't know who told Okewari. I think it was my wife who told Okewari. He now called. He said, look, what is going on? I said, what did you hear? He said the way my wife spoke to him, is everything okay? I said, of course, everything is okay. And of course, the president governor of the Rivers State was also be known. And I never knew that I've been poisoned in our campaign secretariat. My textiles all black. So the doctors did everything they could do. The next day they came back. They said, what's happening to you? That everything is turning around. I said, how? They said, look, my liver is functioning now. My kidney is functioning. I said, but you've not done so much treatment. Well, I just kept quiet. And the glory of God, after about 1 week, they said, look, I can now go. I came back to Nigeria to start the campaign properly. And then I told those who are close to me, we will not stop in anybody's house for anything, no matter how close you are to me. if we are coming to a local government to campaign, and from the campaign there, I'm coming back home. Because I could not identify where. So for me, everybody was a victim. What was a suspect? I'm sorry. Everybody was a suspect. Because I don't know whom to and where it happened. So I said, look, this is the decision I've taken, not to stop in anybody's life. If you come to Gokana, even if you are the leader of that place, thank you. From the campaign ground, come back home. Now, the next thing was this. I don't want to give a lot of instances, but these three things I just want to say. Was during when I was going through my presidential primaries. My wife called me from London. Said, look, she had been diagnosed of cancer. I said, what do you mean, the cancer? I dropped my phone. I called my G5 members who were supporting me. And I called the governor. Look, there's a problem. I don't think I will continue with this race. So I called my wife back. She said, no, continue, nothing will happen. I told her, okay. We started. On the day after that primaries, or in the night of that primaries, I went with my wife to Abuja. From nowhere, she was told that fire has gotten her room. From where? They had to call the fire service. Everything a woman should own was burnt. Up to today, we have not repaired that room. Everything was burnt. And nobody knew. I just kept quiet. That's why I say some people, you don't even ask me what I'm passing through. You only want me to give you. You don't know inside me, I'm already dying. You know? So I was just careful.
God, why do you brought me to this Nigeria? What is my sin? Kí lè ṣẹ̀ mi gangan? Kí ni ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ mi tó fi dá mi sí Nigeria yìí? Ìkíní, èkejì, ẹ̀kẹta. Ó yé o.
Were you all listening to that Lamba? They poisoned him in 2018 when he was campaigning for second term. His kidney, his intestine turned black, gone, when they got to Beirut in Egypt. Inside church, you would have started seeing people inside that church that already believed him, because God of miracle healed Wike. The same way Wike, God healed him when they go to Egypt. Black intestine, kidney gone, liver gone. I mean, if your kidney and your liver, if they are gone, you'll be unconscious, I think. Would you be conscious to even know what's going on with you anymore? If your entire system is black, turned black, that means your meat, your intestine, everything is black. So do you see where they bring out their sky daddy God? Inside church is lying unprovoked. And right there, right then, it's a miracle. There's nothing God cannot do. So that's what happened to Wike. Everybody was a suspect, he said, but doctor didn't have to do anything on him. As a Superman, he healed up. His wife was diagnosed of cancer. Lying unprovoked, though. Somehow, he didn't give the details of that one. Maybe we'll give you in the subsequent clip, right?
But on the evening of PDP's presidential primaries, the wife's room in Abuja got burnt down, everything burnt. There is no newspaper that carried the news that Wike's family also, a part of it caught fire anytime. There is nothing like that. Lying unprovoked in the name of God, the sky daddy. Because the real God is very patient, you know that. For everybody who really believe in God, though, you know, God is patient, like he's so forgiving. He's not human. Inside the God church, in the Old Testament, now for dear thunder for fire Wike, thunder, and those who are believing the lies, thunder go just flash them, so they go faint. But for Wike, now burn to ashes. But because they don't believe in any God, he started lying unprovoked. And he started eulogizing himself. I mean, politicians, are they not the best actors? Is there any scripts they can't act? What do you want them to turn to that they can't turn to for you? If they need to do that to convince you. Religion? What kind of script do you want them to act? Acts or cook up stories, sub-stories, that you hear the stories and you'll be like, oh my God, non-existent ones. Politicians. But lying unprovoked in the house of God, that is extra. It's not new. I'm just kind of showing that to you. So, if you are watching me on Facebook, MaiyegunsDiary Politico on Facebook, I am shutting the page down soon. Every one of you managed to see this broadcast. Just try. If you check this broadcast on YouTube or Facebook, you will see a link to my new Facebook page. And I kind of name it The Real MaiyegunsDiary Politico on Facebook. So I kind of want you to please follow me there. Over 99% of my followers on MaiyegunsDiary Politico have been denied. You will never receive notification when I'm live. If you do receive any, it's random. And not just that, you won't be able to like, comment, or share in some instances. So that is what Mark Zuckerberg did to my Facebook. They want me to shut it all this way. I refused. Now I'm shutting it down. So to every one of you who have this video or come across this, right? Just search for MaiyegunsDiary, the Real MaiyegunsDiary Politico. That will be the new Facebook page. And thank you to every one of you who have already kind of followed it. I'm also live on that page right now. You won't see that big MaiyegunsDiary Politico any longer soon. Until then, right? We can all move to that. So those of you who can't use YouTube, it's almost the same thing. All right, the same quality and all that. Thank you. Let's go to the other parts. With a Wike narrating his experience after the primaries. Here.
You only want me to give you. You don't know inside me I'm already dying. You know? So I was just careful. And you know when they say that you're diagnosed with cancer, you know what it takes? You know what it takes? Those who have experience will tell you. And like it is for me, I handed everything to God. And being a very strong woman, she never showed it. But thank God, today, to the glory of God, my wife is healed and healthy. You see? So when people, like I always say, when people text me, my mother's in the hospital, my father's in the hospital, I say, should I text back? Now look, my wife is also not well. But I just get quiet. That is one incident that I said, God, you have saved me in everything, but this one, you've done it all. This is for my wife's life, and how will I have done at this age, me, I'm not a very careful person taking care of children now. And if anything has happened, you can imagine the effect it will have on my children. I thank God that today my wife is alive. Not just alive, very much alive. I thank God Almighty. Then, the last one, as we finished our primaries, my wife went to Lagos to bring my daughter. We landed at the Air Force Base. I was waiting. I said, okay, let me go to the Air Force Base. So when they land, I just enter the plane and go to Lagos. 15 minutes of takeoff. I went with Olaka Wogu and Marcus Ndage. 3 of us. And somebody was waiting for me in Lagos. I must see that night. 15 minutes of takeoff. What do we have? Boom! The air hostess was running. I said, what is the problem? They said, there's problem. I said, what is the problem? I had to rush to the cockpit. The door locked. Nobody to communicate. What is going on? She now ran back and came back to us. One engine is gone. And the pilot said, look, it's safer for us to turn back because it's still far going to Lagos. So can I come back to Port Harcourt? So 3 of us were looking at each other. And the last thing Olaka said that day, hey, I've not told my wife anything. So we're just looking at ourselves. So I said, well, there's nothing anybody can do now. So, by the grace of God, before we landed, we saw so many ambulances, fire service trucks lined up. I didn't know that the pilot has communicated to them to say, look, there's a serious problem. But to the glory of God, we landed safely. So, like I said, I never even told my parents. I never even told so many people. They don't see me as a strong man, normal man. You know, part of leadership is for you not to frighten your supporters. Because if your supporters know that things are wrong, then they begin to behave anyhow. So I have to keep it to myself. Then the transition. You know, one must thank God that I succeeded, or we succeeded in having a smooth transition. None of you, most people don't know what happened and why I must continue to appreciate and thank God. Ask my colleagues how they feel that their choice or their party candidates didn't make it as their successors. How they feel. When I read on pages of newspapers, even those who have not been sworn in, just governor-elect, they started tormenting their outgoing predecessor. They have not been sworn in. They are just answering governor-elect. You can imagine that and see where I am. Nobody is tormenting me. Not that even if you are tormented, you cannot defend yourself. But that's not the point. The point is that having that calm mind, having that after these 8 years, that you will still have another problem, is something that you must thank God.
He's very grateful that the main worry of some of these criminals, when they
when they're about to leave power is what life will be like outside power. How are they going to get all of their loot owned completely by them and nobody's going to come after them? You know what I mean? Because it's going to be like a fish out of water. So they are so scared of this that they have to manipulate the elections, the process of who will succeed them. Now that in itself is a gamble. A gamble in the sense that you can't guarantee that after putting in all of that effort to make somebody your successor that will help you protect your loot, okay, and let you enjoy them and the life of peace, like Wiki said. So I wanted to say, well, nobody is disturbing him, like he said. Should have been nobody is disturbing him yet. It's a game of power. He's also going to either get jailed or he's going to run away from Nigeria. But there is a little saving grace. If he is going to cover his shame, when Kolu tell him to bring a name for somebody to become a special advisor or minister, Wiki better submitted his own name. That is the closest he can enjoy some level of criminal immunity like Amechi enjoyed. But if he wants to do a big man, it's just a matter of time. He will either end up in jail, as usual, like just arrest him, try him and put him up in jail, or he will run away. So I would rather say yet. Nobody is disturbing him yet. And he's so happy. He went for two things in 2023. He's committed so many crimes that the guy, Fubara, who is your governor today in Rivers State, was your accountant general of Rivers State when the government of Rivers State under Wiki came under investigation with this EFCC. In case if you have forgotten, they had to declare Wiki's successor, Fubara, wanted. This current governor had to go underground. He couldn't go anywhere except when he is in the presence of Wiki. He was actually living in the government house for over 18 months before he became the governor. Now, talking about covering the ass of Wiki, he went for two things. Spend as much as he could to become PDP presidential candidate. So if anyone comes after him afterward, if he didn't become the president, he can easily tag that as those who are coming after him because he's opposition. Like the usual, my enemies are coming after me. Kind of, rhetoric. And if that should fail, he would love anyone who is ready to give him a good deal, that he could keep everything and get away with everything he did as Rivers State governor. They are all criminals, and they have compromise on themselves. EFCC should have arrested Wiki. Normal, sure you get. If to say Atifku is the one they declared president-elect or your president today, Wiki would have either run away or he would have been arrested, at least for the show-off of it. Sure you get. But Kolu gave him a deal that he couldn't resist. And that deal was, I will get all your EFCC case away. Don't worry about that. If you will deliver Rivers State for us, 25%, that's all we need. And it was like, if you promise that you're going to protect me, and everything I have done in Rivers State, Of course, I'll deliver River State. That's why he overdid it too. The one that is also causing problem, where Kolu didn't win, but he was declared winner. Are you with me? So if Kolu asks for Wike's names, like give me name of whoever you want to be the River State minister from River State, in my own political mind and from political experience, in the game of this power or not, it is ideal for him to what? To submit his own name. Because Fubara, okay, maybe that's not all about him. He was sharing his experience. And today, the EFCC that was looking after Wike and Fubara has gotten governor's immunity. He cannot be arrested. He cannot be investigated. He cannot be tried or prosecuted as long as he is governor. Now, his immunity cannot cover Wike. So Wike had a deal with Escobar. Escobar is the one who is going to tell EFCC who to go after or not, which document they should destroy and burn, and who should be set up as the scapegoat or a distraction. He has all of the cards now. He can play the card however he likes. So far, so good. Wike seems to be kind of safe, if you ask me. And the Agodi Emperor, Soloma Kende Ibadan, has something to say about Wike, the way they actually feel about him. Remember this image? These are the images that popped up, after the election that got people worried. And, when Wike now said, no, this is 2023. What happened to him in 2018 couldn't have been what is happening to him now. Okay? And a lot of guys who felt like, what is wrong with him? Well, you know something, right? I've said this before. If Wike was really doing all of the work, and it's not actually like the show off, flyover 1, flyover 2, flyover 12, and the other shambolic stuff he put out there that doesn't even actually add it to any kind of human capital development of the people of River State. But it's their choice. I can't question what you probably love, the bridges, the roads, or whatever he said he's building, or the jobs or industry that actually gives you the real economic empowerment. But that is yours. But people get worried that what could be going on with Wike? Is it the whiskey or the poison? And some said, Maiyegun, there are some drinks that people call poison too. They are not poison that kills you right away. Okay? It is like smoking. They say smokers are liable to die young. Unfortunately, the situation of Nigeria has gotten to a stage whereby now the young people, they ask that, please give me that one, die young one. There was a joke about that. That people are frustrated in Nigeria that they are seeing the smokers are liable to die young on the back of tobacco, right? But they don't care because they don't believe that it is that tobacco that will then kill them if what they are facing in Nigeria is not killing them. And sometimes they just be like, you know what, give me that die young one, that one that they say die young, just to show that, it is, but there are actually some drinks too, that if you drink them in excessive way, here you get, people call them poison. They actually call neurosis. Well, that neurosis, what is it? I don't know how you pronounce it, but all of you know what I'm trying to say. I don't know where that comes from. I've read it somewhere, and I think it has to do with internal whatever, when you begin to destroy your organ. Maybe I'm talking nonsense anyway, so forget about that. There's no point in sounding medical. Sure, you shall get what I mean. Yeah, you know that one when you are in the lab, they will hold the kidney or the heart of an animal, and they will pour this sharp alcohol on them, and they will just change color, and they will say, man, that is how your kidney is changing color. You're like, I don't go drink again. But not lie, you go still drink. Sure, you get what I mean? But you know that if you then become alcoholic of some expensive shit, man, you know what I mean? Like, some will tell you that they are drinking fine brands, like whiskey, all these my rich people. Look at them looking at me like, what is wrong with Maiyegun? Are you trying to tell us what's going to happen to us for drinking? No, I'm saying, right? Excessive drinking. When it doesn't happen just at once, right? There are some very, very strong drinks that guys called poison too. So whatever turned Wike organ black, which probably is not true. Maybe Wike has drunk so much that his doctors are beginning to feel worried. And in one of the periods that is at episode, when you drink, sometimes when you get drunk, you get tipsy. Me, when I'm drunk, I become funnier. Sure, I kind of get funnier, more chatty, more free, I don't kind of stagger like, I'm drunk, I'm tenor, or be aggressive, or be violent, or argument. No. When I'm enjoying my drink and it's actually getting there, like, everything settling like regular, that's the moment I become more chattier, like with people when I have a chance, and it's occasionally. You get what I mean? Anyway, excessively, that's what I'm saying. Something that you are like, oh, more. This guy na beauty. I don't know. This guy go die young. This guy no feel. I don't even know if this guy still get any organ inside him. This guy drink. I think that is the state where it is beyond just getting drunk, being tipsy. If you notice, they said when Wike get drunk all the time. Anyway, he drinks expensive, kind of a brand whiskey or whatever, right? So he could be drinking poison that has already caused some health concern. And somehow, maybe Wike is feeling like, feeling lucky. Especially when people were talking about him and he was kind of remembering what he's been through. The people he's ordered their execution. The people he's ordered their destruction. The people he's actually like helped and betrayed him. And all of that stuff. Like he just probably just thought everything about his life. Like, I could have died in 2018. Oh, I got so attached to alcohol. Right? That my organs they started kind of giving the signs of failure. And doctors had to tell him that you need to slow down. You really need to. Maybe that could be the scenario. Because if somebody poisoned with a Wike since 2018, and we are hearing about that now, it is like saying somebody poisoned a state governor for politics. And you would expect an investigation to have unraveled that. Of course, I know he's lying. I know he's lying. So you're not getting it. I was trying to take those who wanted to give him a benefit of the doubt to just drive and drag that with them until they begin to feel like, no, it doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't. So the only thing that makes sense is, of course, he's been drinking very, very much of it. There are people that sometimes, we have stories everywhere when people become so worried about losing everything they really value so much, things that mean so much to them, like power, wealth, family, health, or things that actually matter to you. When you are at the verge of losing them, there are people who panic, and with their panic, to suppress all that fear, some resort into drinking, drug abuse, or they pick up some kind of strange behaviors in order to hide from their worries and their fear because they don't want to face them. And you should remember, all your politicians, as desperate as they are a bunch of mentally disturbed people who are so worried of losing whatever they are criminally gathering for themselves. They are as worried as many of you are of what will happen if your source of income is completely in any way taken away from you. Now, let me explain that to you again. Your politicians in Nigeria, the moment they gain access to power, they kind of live in a different world, a world that makes them feel kind of invincible. You know, when you talk about poor electricity, you'll be wondering, are they not in the same country with you? Are they not seeing it? When you talk about insecurity, do you need anybody to explain that to them? Because they are supposed to be there in the same country with you. How come they didn't know? When you talk about unemployment and the rest of that, you'll be wondering, like, how come? Because they are living in a different world and they are worried and scared of going back to that same world that you live in. And that's what power does to them. So in the process, they become more desperate, whereby everyone and everything that can help them feel like they are in control and they are not losing control, including going about with, spirituality, prayer warriors, babalawos and that. Others, even despite having all of that assurances from all these spiritualists, that they are safe, they will be fine from the consequences of their crimes, of their sins. A lot of them still have to resort into other, other horrible things in order to manage their fear. With a Wiki, probably, we know there are some of your governors who are drug addicts. We know some of your governors who are pedophiles, who are addicted into going after children for sex. And they are also the same criminals who appear to you that they are fighting for religious this, religious that. You know, you have a bunch of lunatics, depressed criminals, like what some people call Nigeria is currently like an asylum, yeah? And they said that the lunatics have taken over the asylum. You know, asylum, where you have lunatics suffering from different lunacy, a country of 200 million mumus, as they popularly say, a country that is suffering of over 90% of their people suffering from mental health problem, according to their own health care ministry or so. So what you currently have in Nigeria, that a lot of you don't know, is that you have lunatics who have taken over the asylum. They are the lawmakers, they are the governors, they are the president, he is the president, and they are out there pretending to be looking after you, unfortunately. So if Wiki fell into alcoholism to manage his depression and his fear, and just less than a month after becoming a former governor, he continued to express his fear, his worry of his own personal protection that he had unfettered, unchallenged for 8 solid years. So if alcohol is not going to help, or if Wiki is not going to have any kind of any protection or public attention as he enjoyed the last 2 years of his 8 years, one of them where he murdered the people of Rivers State because they are Igbos. I mean, I don't want to keep listening. I mean, listening all of his, crime against humanity, the murder of the genocide against the people who attacked Igbos before they killed them, and the rest of that. So if Wiki fell into alcoholism, and today, somehow, like the video you just watched, I'm going to play the other part. So sorry if it's kind of feel annoying and all that. I just want I want you to see through what he's probably going through, that is only saving grace to keep him in that public post or public office, something that will keep reassuring him. Maybe, just maybe, that could be his own recovery. I'm just saying. However, here is the concluding part of Wiki's nobody is disturbing my peace despite all I did. For now, I told you, lunatics have taken over the asylum. You have heard about, what do you call it? You've heard about Asari Dokubo, yeah? I have something for you on that. Let's go back just shortly.
We do so that we won't have anything called pre-election cases and the rest. And everybody agreed. The governorship forms, which I paid for, the elders met. O.C. Jokoja, SN, he was one who drafted the agreement. I think O.C. is here. I saw him here. I think O.C. is here. He drafted the agreement where everybody signed that the moment the elders choose one person that they are going to support, all of them signed. Now when somebody was choosing, come and see gang up. Come and see gang up. They all moved to Abuja. Started plotting how I will be arrested when they win at the national level. I say, God, you are the one that is in charge. But now, as God may have it, left I won, right I won, center I won. So I told them, now I remain in Abuja permanently. See, all evil plots against me, all failed. All failed. So why wouldn't I thank God? Why wouldn't I appreciate God? Some of you who are close to me were worried. Say, well, what are we going to do? Even some of those whom I told how to operate, they said, this kind of risk our guy is taking. It's a very big risk. We are finished. We are finished. I said, don't worry, have faith. You will not be finished. Know how we started this since from 2014, 2015. So why do you think now that God will abandon us? And God never abandoned us. So we survived at this way. State, we survived. Today, we have a governor who is our successor. Not an enemy to us. He was a member of our political family. So each time I go out now, I go out happily. I don't even look back. Because I know I'm protected everywhere. God's protection and man's own protection. Man's protection here is not the same thing as God. Yes, God uses man to help. Just like the Senate president here. When I was running in 2014, 2015, he came out. He was abused. He was on television. How can he put his hand about the politics of Rivers State? He told them, look, he has seen that the only body who can win this election now should be me. There was no abuse they did not give to him. He did not just come out. He gave me 200 million naira for that election. Don't look back. EFCC cannot touch you. Don't look back. Don't look back. As at that time, that's why I said, one good turn deserves another. If he could do that for me, now, I can also support him. And we thank God he succeeded. Let me thank Autumn, our youth leader, vice chairman of the Governors Forum, Sheyi Makinde. He's the governor, but under G5, he's our youth leader. Let me thank Autumn Ugwai and Ibazu, Mimiko, Fayoshe, who's our younger brother, Bakwambo, Benadike. At that time, they all stood firm. When we are passing through this, they all stood firm. I don't know how to thank them. We have the G5 and we have the integrity group. G5 is part of the integrity group. People like Jank, they are all that firm, day and night. And when we lost, He came. He said, look, you've done your best. Leave the rest to God. And that's how it is. So my brothers and sisters, I thank you most sincerely for leaving everything you have to come.
Did he just say Akpabiole gave him 200 million? I mean, I'm not going to say no, but for those of us who were following the politics of that time, Akpabiole couldn't have given you 200 million. But he had to say it anyway. So, and he was telling Akpabiole dear that, no, don't worry. Now we get power now. We are safe. We are protected. Don't look back. EFCC is not coming after you. No, don't worry. You are protected. Publicly, lunatics have taken over the asylum. Criminals, they have taken over the penitentiary. Like say, the criminals have taken over the prison. And that's exactly the same as lunatics have taken over the asylum. Nigeria is now in the hands of the dogs. It's not in your favor. Enjoy the drama. Laugh where you want to laugh. But none of it is in reality funny. Lives at stake. And I hope you remember that. They called Wiki. Now, just a quick add-on. This was what Wiki had to say about Akpabiole when he was minister of the Niger Delta, NDDC.
We report that there is no collaboration we have had with the NDC, that they have completed one. The Mother and Child Hospital, we are supposed to have collaborated with NDDC. We brought our own part of the money. NDDC didn't bring it down. Okay, refund us our money that you are holding. It was a war. Thank God they know if they didn't pay what the problem will look like. And they paid back that money. Now, the headquarters, where they are now, Mr. Minister, you are here, you and the MD. You told me in Government House that you partner with the state government, that you are going to bring 2.5 billion, the state government will bring 2.5 billion for the dualization of the papers. As I speak, you have not got 1 naira. Meanwhile, the road is almost 95% ready. If you don't pay, I will make sure you won't use that road to your headquarters. Because, yes, because I'm not there for a Christmas. Yes. Yes, because, you see, about the fact that you have built this one for police, IG will not send police to support you that day, because I'm going to be the one that will need to block that road. Because you must fulfill what you have promised. Collaboration.
That's the kind of relationship he had with Akpabiole, even just as recent as January 2023. But let's go back to his party, where they are praising themselves. It was Seyi Makinde who first said, a lot of you don't know Wike. Remember, Wike called Seyi Makinde the youth leader of the G5. Listen or watch what the rest of G5 or G4 called their boss, Wike.
Of APC, you have senators, both APC and PDP. Someone called himself Mr. Unifier, but from what I see in this room, the true unifier is Governor Nyesom Wike. He brought everybody from north and south to this place. Now he's been called so many names. They said Mr. Hurricane, Mr. Project. From all of us at G5, I'm going to unveil a secret today. one name that nobody has called him openly. I'll call him because when he was talking in church, he said, me, I'm the youth leader. Abi? Well, we always call him Mr. Naked Wire. Because, someone is calling him, and he looked at it. Of course, he doesn't save anybody's name on his phone, but he knows all the numbers offhand. So he's looking at it and said, this guy is calling me. He will hear you today. And he will take it and say, why are you calling me? Thunder fire you. So we call him Mr. Naked Wire because if you don't want trouble, please don't cross his path.
So, Mr. Naked Wire, Mr. Wiki, if you don't want his trouble, don't cross his path. Well, let's see how long that will last. Okay? So that Mr. Naked Wire, make them know at the end of the day, turn them to ordinary disconnected cable from the dilapidated NEPA pole. It is as good as a rope to tie the wood. Ask people now, they'll tell you. Mr. Naked Wire will soon become Mr. Lifeless Wire. You have Naked Wire, you have Lifeless Wire. No be Nigeria. It won't be long, Now the share you get. But as for Akpabiole, the new Senate president, thanks to the Wike's efforts, and he did all of that to be safe so that nobody will come and trouble him. He can move about, enjoy the life, and still feel like he's governor and all that. Akpabiole was like, you know what we want you to do for us? We want you to do one thing for us, right? We want you to make sure that in 2027, you create another G5 so that they can help us win election again. That is Akpabiole. I will really watch this.
They have been hearing for so many years. On a very personal note, Your Excellency, the immediate past governor of Rivers State, you said in the church that the then Governor Godswill Akpabio assisted you with some money when you were running. That money came from my savings in the telecoms industry. The money was not from the government of Akwa Ibom State. I said you said that I assisted you in 2014 or thereabout when you were running for governorship of Rivers State. That money was from my savings in the telecoms industry, where I was a managing director. It was not from the government of Akwa Ibom State. I felt I should make this correction so that people I paid tax on that money in Lagos. So definitely, so if you check, you will know. So, and also, if I describe you too much, who knows whether we are going to compete with each other in future. I would have loved to say that you are a superlative performer. I would have loved to say that you are uncommonly exceptional. But maybe I should also point out that you have even surprised yourself. I don't think when you were coming in as governor of Rivers State that you knew that you could do what you have done. They have been hearing for so many years. On a very personal note, Your Excellency, the immediate past governor of Rivers State, you said in the church that the then Governor Godswill Akpabio assisted you with some money when you were running. That money came from my savings in the telecoms industry. The money was not from the government of Akwa Ibom State. I said you said that I assisted you in 2014 or thereabout when you were running for governorship of Rivers State. That money was from my savings in the telecoms industry, where I was a managing director. It was not from the government of Akwa Ibom State. I felt I should make this correction so that people I paid tax on that money.
Sorry, I left that on replay. Anyway, that's them trying to make, it's like making mockery of everybody watching and listening to them. Like, because everybody could tell they are trying to like play that
dump game that looks like, oh, I didn't steal money. Oh, I only gave you that money from the savings when I was, oh, I mean, cut the crap anyway. But I was there at where they are trying to make Wike feel better, that he's done something well, and it's going to be a time to pay back. Okay? And I hope they won't poison him. We may never know who poisoned Wike. We may never know. But there is this assurance clip that got replayed. I did say something to you about Dangote this afternoon, right? That the same person they told you is going to start refining crude oil in Nigeria, and then they are going to be selling Nigeria crude oil to him in Naira, not in the normal dollars, Abi. However, there are many other revelations that are coming out now. A lot of you are seeing them, but somehow you are hoping that they are not true, but they are true. In one scenario where they are trying to stop what you can call the fuel importation certificate given to Dangote. How could you give fuel importation license to somebody you told Nigerians that the emergence of a Dangote refinery is going to end fuel importation and end subsidy in Nigeria? Then you turned around to say, okay, it's not going to end subsidy. And you have, after Nigeria gave Dangote over $8 billion to build this refinery that is even still very much uncompleted. Now, this $8 billion US dollars that Dangote is yet to produce one single petroleum from its refinery. The central bank under Emefiele said Dangote has already paid back over 70% of the loan. Yeah, that's part of the GBT. The money is being invested in Dangote refinery. Nigeria money invested in Dangote refinery in the names of individuals, okay, who are indeed going to be called investors. But you know, the package, the arrangement is so mad, yeah, that they said that a liter of a barrel of crude oil that is sold for over $80 a barrel will be sold to Dangote in Naira. And somehow, the same Dangote is not going to, for any reason, sell the finished products to you according to the Naira that they sold the crude oil to him for. You know what I mean? Like, Dangote is going to sell his finished product to you according to the price of crude oil in the international markets. So pretty much like the oil importers that are receiving subsidy, only for them to come back to say the same government, the GBT government of Bukwari, they also issued a license to Dangote to be the sole importer of petroleum products in Nigeria, not NNPC anymore. So whenever Nigeria wants to pay subsidy on importation of fuel into Nigeria, that will be called Dangote fuel. Now, Dangote refinery in Lagos doesn't need importation of fuel, does it? But they are going to import a finished product from abroad, send them straight to Dangote refinery. And you are all going to believe that they are refining crude oil in Dangote refinery, Abi? So on the other hand, the deal is so shady that if all of you actually know what this is all about, wherever you see these criminals, you go hold them, citizen arrest, from Tifnumbu to Bukwari to everybody, wherever you see them. But unfortunately, they've done probably worse than that for them to be so bold enough to use your central bank as a collateral for a supposed private business of a Nigerian businessman. Unfortunately, Dangote, the same one who the argument now started in the House of Rep that they must revoke that license. Now, the rookie, a new lawmaker that was trying to move that in House of Representatives, that the license that Buhari gave to Dangote to be the sole importer of petroleum in Nigeria, that you are buying a liter of petrol at 600 naira, 500 naira, 700 naira today, they are just preparing you for this Dangote consortium, this Dangote monopoly. Nigeria will be paying him. You will be paying him. At the end of the day, Dangote refinery scam won't even produce any single fuel at any commercial quantity until 2025. I don't know if you know that anyway. That's not that's the truth. Dangote refinery cannot produce any finished refined crude in Nigeria at a commercial quantity until 2025. But they opened it last month and they told you it's going to start production in July. What they didn't tell you was they already gave him a license to import fuel into Nigeria. And from July, Tifnumbu's government is going to start paying subsidy to him. Yes, they will pay him. You're going to see they'll pay him. And because you already thought they've opened Dangote refinery, therefore maybe Dangote refineries is already pumping out the fuel. Maybe Dangote already told you that it's not going to cut its cost. So at the end of the day, everything will just kind of just move like that. And according to them, it's a country of 200 million mumu. Even if they know the truth, they dare not challenge it. How can they? They don't have that ball. Do you have the ball to challenge them? You would rather excuse it and hope what Maiyegun is saying right now is not true. Oh, Maiyegun is just saying that. It may not be true. Don't worry. You will find out too. A rookie lawmaker tried to challenge that, then chop arm because of inexperience. They wanted to stop that Dangote license for oil importation. Really? And this happened, guys. A long watch.
Federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to send a matter of urgent public importance. Mr. Speaker, yesterday NNPC has issued import permit to Dangote for a sole importation of petroleum product in this country. Mr. Speaker, NNPC belongs to all Nigerians, and there are other importers of this petroleum product in this country, and they have all the infrastructure.
Just introduce the subject matter so that we can get a seconder, please.
Okay. I tried to move that Dangote was given sole importation permit of petroleum products. I moved this motion. I so moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder, please. Again, you cannot misguiding in a class. If I ask you, you don't know, just say you don't know. It doesn't require a seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I remain Benjamin Okezie Carlo. I represent the good people of Nigeria, starting from Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to assist some of our new members who are desirous of presenting motions to be well.
Honorable Dogwa, please can you approach the chair?
Sorry.
To be well guided by the rules of the House. It is expected that when you want to move a motion of urgent public importance, first, you have to do a written work that must be presented to the Speaker ahead of time for him not to be taken unawares. That is one. Secondly, when the time is given to you to make your presentation, you will seek the permission of the House in line with Order 8, Rule 4, seeking for suspension of the House rule to enable it be heard. And in doing that, it is expected that the topic that you want to present has all the elements of urgency embedded in it. If it is not as urgent as you may think it is, it will come under notice so that members who have pre-knowledge of what you want to discuss, research, prepare for it, and contribute during debate. So I think the House rule that has been handed over to us during induction is for this purpose. Let us consult it the more. The issue you raise is very topical. I leave it for the Speaker to rule on that, but I just wanted other members who may want to come up for issues of urgent public importance to be well guided. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, DS. May I call on the suspension of the rules so that can we get a proposal to suspend the rules so that we can take this particular motion?
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my respected colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I beg of your indulgence to say that the same mover of the motion, sir, should be allowed to move for the suspension of our rules.
Correct. So,
now get the consent of members.
Can you move that we suspend our rules to take this motion if it is urgent enough?
Yes, and we put it to question, sir, with due respect.
And then we put it to question.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I hereby apply
we cannot take decision now.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Gali Mustafa Tijani, member representing Gaya Ajingi Albasu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I apply for the suspension of Order 8, Rule 4. I so moved.
Any seconder? Honorable Idem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. My name is Idem Unyime, member representing Ukanafun, Rowanam Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague. I so second. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. Those who are in support that we suspend the rules to take this particular motion should say aye.
Aye.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. We take the second leg. Those who are in support of this motion to be taken now should say aye. Those who are against should say nay. The ayes have it. So please go ahead and present your motion.
Mr. Speaker, I remain Gali Mustafa Tijani, member representing Gaya Ajingi Albasu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, NNPC Limited yesterday issued import permit to Dangote Petrochemical as a sole importer of petroleum product to this country. Mr. Speaker, that is not what should have been, because there are other importers of this petroleum product over the years in this country, and they are doing wonderfully well. And they have employed so many Nigerians, and they have built so much infrastructure. Therefore, I so moved, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable colleague.
My
honorable colleague.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my prayer is that this...
Please sit down. Do you have a written copy?
At the end of this month, it is going home with, It's going on with at least 214 million naira He's a new lawmaker. He's going to collect his housing allowance. He's going to collect, you know, he's going to collect all of his allowances, as you know, and then because he's a new member. So, but he was, or should I say, well, he's a new member in experience, okay? But he wanted the House to stop NNPC from issuing a sole import license to Dangote Petroleum. NNPC in Nigeria, in the last 7.5 years, they have supervised the stealing of Nigeria crude oil that is valued at over 118 trillion naira in 7.5 years. 700,000 barrels of crude oil were being stolen from Nigeria every day, uninterrupted, for a straight 7 years. When they found one of those who were stealing Nigeria oil, the vessel, you know what they did? Breaking news. We found one vessel among those who were stealing Nigeria crude oil. Oh, brilliant. Who are the owners? Who are the crew? Where was he headed? Where was he from? Who are those, who are those working with it in Nigeria? This is a good thing. A vessel doesn't just appear. A vessel of that size doesn't just appear. Where Nigeria have crude oil that is being stolen. But before we could even say jack, they've set the whole ship ablaze. They burned the entire thing, and that was the end of those who have been stealing Nigeria crude oil for 7 years. 118 trillion naira stolen. And when it comes to the payment for subsidy, under Buhari, Nigeria paid over 15 trillion naira for subsidy, 16 trillion naira for subsidy, 16 trillion naira. Nigerians still spend more or pay more for a liter of petrol. The scam was so huge that people didn't even know that it was NNPC that is importing fuel into Nigeria, only them. And the NNPC is paying itself fuel subsidy when their job was to monitor the oil industry of Nigeria, including the sale and everything, protect the interest of Nigeria. This crook destroyed Nigeria. And when Buhari, who supervised all of that, when he absconded to Niger Republic, the same NNPC became private company. NNPC is Nigeria owned. That's Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation. It is Nigerians' property. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Some said NNPC is actually Northern Nigeria Petroleum Corporation. It is not Nigerian National Petroleum. No. That's the bogus meaning they gave to all of us. But if you look at the NNPC very well, it's probably belongs to Northern Nigeria. It's like an entitlement. They own it. So they sold it. They sold NNPC. They privatized it. Nigerians didn't even know who and who bought or what, and what is their own share in it. Nobody knows anything. They just said federal government of Nigeria will have so percentage in NNPC. Who are the buyers? They use Nigeria money to give themselves shares in NNPC when they sold it off. But they still hold control over who controls the oil sector in Nigeria, even though they have become private company. This whole scam, everything is sha. Ladies and gentlemen, they wanted to escape that, and they believed that maybe Tifnumbu will probably not want to take it away from Dangote, because Dangote represents the criminal enterprise of Nigeria. Everything that is wrong with Nigeria, that is what Dangote represents, right? Dangote is not just Dangote. The interest of the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausa criminals, Yoruba criminals, Igbo criminals, a lot of them who have stolen from you or help them cover the crime against you, they all got rewarded with something from Dangote. And Dangote there
who is sitting over the vast resources of Nigeria, in lieu for these criminals, receive in return, he received the protection from them. So if Tifnumbu decide to go after and take that from him, or decide to probably even just take the entire refinery from him, because Dangote has no money in that refinery, they robbed Nigeria for years. Even at that, they still couldn't deliver it anyway. So they would need somebody to continue to write the blank check, and that would be Kolu. Kolu will write the blank check, except if it's going to be, I mean, it won't write the blank check, except if it's going to be the one that is actually like owning the Dangote. And all of this deal, they believe that maybe if Dangote owns it and be the one to say, oh yeah, he's the one importing. So if you take it away from him, you are taking away the power of the people that can destroy Nigeria because of that. Something like that, Sha. Because I don't understand this. So Dangote get refinery. Dangote still be the only person who can import fuel to Nigeria. So which means if that before Dangote starts refining anything, it can still continue to import the same way he's the only one who can import sugar. Import this, import. Anyway, you know what I mean, Sha? So how do you sell off the national assets? We don't know the buyers. The national asset, NNPC, and its properties, they sold them. Tifnumbu is talking to people, and the people he inaugurated to advise him on policy, on the economy. They told Kolu to sell Nigeria properties, assets, to pay debt, if they really want to get Nigeria out of the wood, at least for a starter. Bukwari don't sell everything. Whatever is left now, maybe land or something, I don't know. Here you get. Dangote owns the Nigerian oil industry now. You know what I mean? So yeah, NNPC just did that, and a rookie lawmaker wanted to bring it to the attention of his own colleagues that this is so wrong. And inexperience killed it. And you probably will never hear anything more about it. But you can put that as one of those would-be dramas. So, Asari Dokubo is kind of should probably be, you know, those guys should be nominated as those who are going to provide alternative security for you in Nigeria, because it's meant to, right? So Dokubo was inside the asshole Rocker Villa where he met with Kolu, and then he said that after conversing with him, they've worked out something to end oil bunkering in Niger Delta. Does that even make any sense? And a lot of people said the ombudsman slaves, the sophisticated morons, the Lagos Abobakus, they confidently said that there's nothing wrong in working with all these criminals. Listen, Asari Dokubo, James Sibori, Kabaka, MC Olueron, and all those rogues in this your Nigeria, like I told you, where lunatics have taken over the asylum. Of course, they would have to promise protection, just like under Bukwari, when Miyegun was providing security or promising us security in southwest Nigeria and eastern Nigeria. Miyegun had to sign a deal with this former governor in Anambra. You know, Miyegun even got appointed into, why did I forget his name again? Your former governor in Anambra. He appointed Miyegun so that he can bring peace to Anambra. If Fulani terrorist, if you kill any cow, you will pay 500,000 naira. So if Fulani terrorists kill you, because they are fighting you and all of that, they kill you. So the Fulani terrorists will pay you 500,000 naira. That was part of the deal that Obiano signed with this Fulani terrorists in Anambra too. They went to Ondo State. They said they wanted to become part of the Southwest Vigilante to protect us from the Fulani terrorists. Miyegun, that is the spokesperson or spoke group for the Fulani terrorists. So anyway, we saw all that shaggy. Now the terrorists seems to the Islamic terrorists are gone, or probably kind of taking the back seat for now. So the Southern terrorists are taking charge. So Asari Dokubo said, he's been providing security for the people for the travelers of Lagos, of Kaduna Abuja Expressway. Remember that Boko Haram, Fulani terrorists, they call bandits, have taken over all those axes for 8 years of Boko Haram. Abi? Well, you know the story. So what happened now is that under Boko Haram, by the way, terrorists were protecting pipelines from vandals, from oil thieves, and all of that stuff. But after meeting with Escobar, Asari said there will be no oil theft in Niger Delta anymore. Now let's cough, right? Let me give you this repeat, and then we'll move on.
He just to come and say hello to my father. I've congratulated him before this time, and to give a word of support for what he has achieved and what he has done so far. And I know that Nigeria had changed. Nigeria had turned 360 degrees in the positive direction. When I'm speaking about the president, I'm speaking from a personal point of view. I will do everything, I can stake everything to make my father, in quote, succeed. And that is a promise I had given to myself and a promise I've given to him. Oil theft will be stopped. There'll be zero oil theft in the Niger Delta, inshallah. Thank you very much.
So when he finished that appearance after seeing Kolu, a lot of people were kind of jolted. I was reading so many comments online where a lot of people were like, they've never actually seen any kind of former militant or terrorist or anything sitting inside the asshole rock to address the press. And this is more so degrading, insulting, and all of that, and like severe pain. Anyway, and I was like, don't worry, you are going to see more of that. What are you going to do if you see MC Oluero inside the asshole rock? Coco Cider and the rest of them, are you going to pretend that you are surprised? You're going to see them. They're going to be around. You're going to see them, you're going to see them on the presidential jet. Yeah, you're going to see them. They're going to fly all those things. When they are flying them, when you are seeing them and all of that, yeah? Do you know those who are also going to be so pained? They are going to be the CPC of Boko Haram's party, where the likes of Malamu, Shadia, Adisirika, Gandola, and on like that, yeah, are also going to be displayed as the scapegoats of everything wrong with Nigeria. Prepare yourself, it's going to be an endless episodes. But for those who are going to see for now, and those who are still going to end up and they're going to be used as scapegoats, of course, time will tell. I have an advice for you. If you have been one of those, if you have been like me, people who don't live in Nigeria, vocal, free. We could say whatever we wanted to say. We have the freedom of speech. In Nigeria, you know that the freedom after speech is not guaranteed, Abi. And I want you to know that even though Bokwari is not there, the same pattern is still playing itself. If you know, say you know won't end up in any of their filthy, inhumane dungeons, don't go to Nigeria. There is this guy, let's be the name again, Ayo Shoguro or something. So the guy was visiting Nigeria. And this happened just a few days ago, by the way, just 2 days ago. So when he got to Nigeria, he was picked up at the airport in Abuja. What's going on, what happened and all that, no explanation. And that's how he ended up in what later came out to be DSS detention. He's been very vocal on social media, especially on Twitter. He didn't tell anybody. Some people probably didn't even know he's not in Nigeria until he was arrested. And he probably didn't tell anybody he was going to Nigeria. So what then happened is this. They already have our names and what we have said or currently saying. Remember the hate speech bill and social media bill or social media, whatever, where you can go to jail. If, for example, you say, Kolu has dementia, which I have said many times. So I will be sent to jail because I didn't take permission from the Ministry of Information in Nigeria before I could say that to you that Kolu get dementia. In hand they shake, in leg they shake, in voice they shake, in neck they shake. You know, that kind of thing. That by that law, I was supposed to write to the Ministry of Information and say, hey, I want to go and tell the whole world that Kolu is very sick, that he is not mentally okay. Here you get. And in order not to break any law, so the ministry will now say, no, don't say that. You are not allowed to post anything like that on social media. But if I fail, if I go ahead and post it, I've committed a crime that will send me to jail for 10 years. Okay? So it's called the social media law, which means before Nigerians can post anything on social media about Nigeria, they will first write permission at the ministry. Something like that, shasha crazy. So that is in effect. One of the things that Kolu and his gang did during their Charade campaign was that they wrote to the DSS. They wrote to the Nigeria Broadcasting Corporation. They asked the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation to sanction any media houses promoting any criticism of Tifnumbu. Anybody writing anything or posting anything about Tifnumbu, any of those things on social media, if any media house in Nigeria should publish them, the NBC should punish them. Here you get. And NBC was like, okay, we're going to do that. Don't write anything against the APC candidates or you go to jail or you pay fine. And they actually sanctioned few media houses, by the way, because of this. 5 million naira, 1.5 million naira. Some journalists got fined too for what they called criticizing Tifnumbu. Then they wrote DSS. They wanted DSS to caution the people who are criticizing Tifnumbu, who are writing about his drug case in America, his heroin trafficking case, where he forfeited 460,000 US dollars, the proceeds of heroin trafficking, to the a district court in Chicago, Illinois. If you say all of that, DSS will arrest you to come and give them evidence. Even when all the evidence is on social media, is online, it's everywhere. But APC, Tifnumbu's people, they wrote DSS to arrest anybody. Remember, this was when they are not like in power. It was electional. Now they have that power to appoint who is going to be the DSS director, who is going to be the NSA, National Security Advisor, to appoint who is going to be the police IG, including who is going to be the justice, this or that, including your Chief Justice of Nigeria. Now, they have all that power. So you should please remember, if you have criticized them, if you have said anything, you see, they are inheriting people's enemies. Oh, they are inheriting those they believe just don't like APC. They call you enemies who want to set Nigeria on fire. So if you go to Nigeria, of course, with, like, maybe not like me, who has a channel. If you're just the regular person who just criticize them and all of that, you just need to pack your bags, okay? When you get to Nigeria, you may not be visiting your families. Now your family go to visit you. Like Emefiole is currently begging them to allow him to see his family, since they told him that he was invited or arrested over a week ago. Emefiole is right there with the DSS. Just same thing with the EFCC chairman. So if you are going to Nigeria and you are a regular critic of Ekolu Tifumbu, I advise you to abort mission. You don't want to go and find out anyway. It's also up to you. You may just try to find out if your name is on their what have you. It's going to be a long journey. And I hope a lot of you are actually ready for it. The kidnappings are back. The kidnappers are back. The Boko Haram, they are back. The killings back. And all the fraudulent propagandas are also back. Now you go, they suffer. Now them go, they tell you, say, now pretend you, they pretend. This country is very hard. They will tell you, say, it's not that bad. It's getting better, dear. It's getting better, dear. Now you never see them. Just wait, it's going to get better. Now so then tell some of these walking dead people today, no be people who are dead under Boko Haram, whether na hunger kill them or na terrorists kill them or na police kill them. They are lucky. I'm sorry to all of you who are their family members. I'm not trying to make light of your losses, okay? But I'm saying they are lucky. You know why? They ended it. You and I can talk today about how things have gotten bad in Nigeria and how it's still going to get bad and how many other victims are still going to become victims of this and how many people are still going to die, people that shouldn't die. Of course, their policies kill people. But put it this way, you and I are here worried. What's going to happen to our children? What is going to happen to all of, you know what I mean, all that kind of things. You are worried because you are alive. If you are dead, Baba, you are dead. You don't understand. And that is why I do tell people that even though it is always ideal for all of us to go when it is right, receive help, right? When you are feeling kind of so like you want to end it. But the bottom line is this. APC, Egbekegbe destroyed lives of people. A lot of people died. But there are also a lot of people who are not dead, but they are not alive. Do you know that? You have them you have them as people you know. Okay, I'm not wishing you this bad, but these bad things happen to a lot of people, a lot of families. Yeah? Today. So, for those of you who are still here, you are here to worry about the damages that Boko Haram did, APC, Egbekegbe, and the ones that are still coming. If you lived through it, well, lucky you. There are so many people that this whole thing have actually like crushed, destroyed. All these stories that you read about, all this looting, all this terrorism, the corruption and all of that, people's lives and livelihood were destroyed. A lot of them didn't recover and they may never recover. For those who have died, you can just say, okay, maybe they are not here anymore, but there are those who are still here, but they are not dead. They are no longer in any way themselves anymore. They may never be, because there's no sign that things are going to probably simmer or change. You are just going to have to, like, change the way you adapt to it. And I think that's pretty much what I see. So, as it stands, please don't make yourself a victim or somebody want to find out how bad it is right now. So, going forward, in all of this, there are people who still believe, that still believe that Maiyegun, it is still not over. And I love to kind of indulge people like that because, it takes so much for so many people to hold on to Nigeria this long. A lot of people have seen the damages long time ago, but somehow they kept telling themselves that maybe, just a little bit more, things may get better, or things may kind of take a different turn, but they just keep taking the bad and the worst and the worst and the worst turn, right? And that takes a lot of faith. You know what somebody told me about poverty? It wasn't mocking poverty, okay? He said, the poverty that a lot of us kind of dread, sometimes we misunderstood what the commitment of poor people, like the mentality of that poverty, right? Let me tell you something about this, that how that person kind of illustrated it for me. I'm going to try just so you understand what I'm driving at. Poverty is something of, as they say, state of mind, and mostly the physical part of it is the lack, which is lack of this, lack of that, or insufficient of this plus that, and pretty much about not having at all or not having enough. Okay. Now, you'll be wondering that how come the people the people you call poor, how come they appear like happy? Because there are some of you that if you live this current life you are living right now, the one you actually achieved for yourself, you worked hard to be where you are right now, okay? You see, whatever the comfortability that you have earned for yourself, especially the one that makes you feel like at least you are above that level of poverty, kind of lack and all that. You know what I mean? When you see the life of people who are poor, but they still look happy, not worried, not panicky, not stressed, they still kind of appear like normal, something that will never make you normal. So let me give you an example. There are many of you today who are financially very okay, which means you could afford your own house, you could afford your own Medicare, you could afford a lot of things money can buy, food and all that. Now, when you put a number beside what it actually takes to keep you comfortable right now, the number is staggering. A lot of you will be like, to keep my household running every month, I earn good money, but I spend over 10,000 US dollars, or I spend over 10 million a month to keep my family running, children's school fees, medicals, and all of that stuff, our automobiles, all that stuff, Sha. There are people like that. They will say they spend how much? Rich people. For me, if you ask me, my own could be like around 5,000, 6,000 to keep my own family running, and at the same time pay my bills. You see, that lifestyle is lifestyle of comfort that when you meet people who earn far, far below you, and they are still living fine. They are paying their rent, they are paying their school fee, their children's school fees. Some of them are running businesses aside. They don't seem to have as much as you have, even though you are still looking for more in order to be comfortable. Then when you are like, okay, there are people who actually survive or live on 10,000 naira a month. And you're like, no way. It's impossible, Maiyegun. How can somebody survive on the 10,000 naira? I cannot even survive on 500,000 naira. I can't even survive on the 400,000 naira. You know, that kind of thing, right? That level of poverty that you be like, if I should fall to that level, I may kill myself. Do you know that? Have you ever imagined it? Like from spending a lifestyle of, let's say, 5 million naira every month. You earn it, or is your job, or is your money, or like you are okay, or like comfortable, sure you get. But just imagine where you have to like manage 100,000 naira. So that kind of poverty, yeah? And then you see people so comfortable in that. Yeah. It's a state of poverty, yeah? Like, it's kind of poor. But they are okay. They look at you like, what are you talking about? Are you saying 100,000 naira is too small? Look at this Maiyegun. Do you think everybody will be like you, Ni? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to give you a competition here. Okay? I'm just saying that poverty is a state of mind to start with, okay? And there are people who are very comfortable in that. Because when you say a normal life should not be somewhere you have to like manage 20,000 naira or 30,000 naira as minimum wage, and be thankful to those who did that to you. Be ready to defend them, because they could choose not to do that anyway, and nobody will do anything to them. So being so comfortable in that state is something of the mind that a lot of you will lose your mind. If you get downgraded from spending a lifestyle of 1 million naira every month, 2 million naira every month, downgraded to the lifestyle of 100,000 naira, you lose your mind. And you begin to ask yourself, how are the millions of people who have actually been living like that? How have they been surviving? How have they been kind of doing it? A lot of you are paying people who have family members, who have people mouth to feed. You pay them 20,000 naira, 30,000 naira. And somehow, when they talk about poverty, you come around to say, people can survive on little money. People don't need much. But you can't. Now, anyway, don't worry. It seems to be like a TED talk, motivational talk and the rest, okay? It's not. I'm just trying to like picture the level of poverty they created in Nigeria. Some of them that a lot of you support. And since it's pretty much about if I'm okay, you know, if it's not happening to me, it's not happening to anyone. I don't know. I just felt I should share that with you in that regard, okay? I'm going to go and leave. I initially wanted to take calls, but I feel like I can't take that much time anymore. So let's consider this as part of my own coming back, okay? So I would continue. Should I say, yeah? I would wish that this nightmare disappears, but it's not in any way. The lunatics, they have taken over the asylum, and here you are. They are breeding the colony of the enslaved. Now, a lot of us are going to fall into that. because you will think, maybe those who think that somehow they are vulnerable and they can't it's like they can't avoid it. So they will deal with it and call it their own destiny. And whatever it is, like they did in 8 years of Bokuwari. So it's it's not renewed hope, it's called renewed slavery, the drama, and every other thing that comes with it. So I will be here to remind you the consequences of your choices. And I will also be here to wish those of you who still always kind of feel like there could be a glimpse of hope. I don't see one, okay? But maybe through your eyes, I'll help you keep faith. And if every other thing, all things being equal, that we all find out that we are all headed for the same doom, whether you are supporting them or you are not. The damages they have done, the dramas they are going to give, the distractions that are going to come with it, the disappearance of Kolu, and also the people that are going to take position fighting for what they are or they can control, like they did under Bokuwari. Everything is going to come back to one thing. To prove the likes of Maiyegun right, that after all said and done, the best and the ideal thing for Nigeria is for all of us to go our separate ways. And talking about going our separate ways, Nigeria won't be united because there's not going to be any sign of it. You don't unite in poverty, okay? Where you have poverty, there's going to be increased crime. There's going to be increased ethnic tension, tribal tension, religious tension. Poverty breeds hate. Poverty breeds all kind of animosity. And all you are witnessing in Nigeria today are man-made problems. And if you want them to go away, if you want an end to it, you need to kill the source. The source of all of these is that Nigeria fraudulently fused together in this sense, right? Needs to go. And even if you don't want it to happen, agitation is going to increase under these criminals. They break this, the campaign for the breakup of Nigeria is going to take even a kind of an aggressive approach under these criminals. The initial gra that they are currently pulling off, the initial distraction and the rest of that, they don't really last long. You can win you can kind of win or rig an election through propaganda. You can't rule a country by propaganda. APC, Egbekegbe represent division. They represent poverty, corruption, and destruction. And as long as Nigeria exists, the likes of APC, they will continue to suck and suck and suck our own blood, the blood of innocent people, before they suck yours. I hope and I pray that you will see that reality. There is only one way out. One way out. We should all sit together and discuss if we still want to be one country, under what arrangement or conditions, or we go our separate ways. So keep that as a reminder. I will see you some other time. So like I said, agitation, marginalization, state sponsored or state backed profiling, corruption, poverty, religious intolerance. These are symptoms of a failed country. Politicians are milking it, but they won't do so for long. Their lies and other manipulation, even their threats and state whatever capture, they can only succeed if at least they are fixing Nigeria. And they have no plan of fixing Nigeria. Since they have no plan, poverty will spread, angst will spread, hate will spread, and every other vice that has pitted Nigeria or pushed Nigeria to the precipice of breakup, they will spread. agitation will not die down. Rather, they will take a new approach. Yoruba nation agitation will take a new approach, an aggressive one. That's what I'm saying. The Biafra referendum and the self-determination agitation will take another approach as well. Seriously, it's going to be more aggressive. You see, the more failure that these criminals are dishing out, the closer the breakup of Nigeria is going to be. I know you still don't believe it's possible. I know you still don't believe it's going to happen, but it's not yours to believe or to make happen. Their failure will push everybody to choose that route very soon. I mean, they've already proved enough, yeah, that today Nigeria is more divided. And a lot of us are asking that, please, before we turn around and begin to kill ourselves, can we at least pretend that we care for ourselves by calling for that national conversation? Let the Igbos leave. Let the Yorubas leave. Let the Arewas leave. Let the Kwararafas go. If the Ijaw nations want to go, let them go. If the Ogoni land wants to be their own country, let that be. Let everybody choose what they want. And you can only know what everybody wants if you let them choose. Or if they won't let us choose, if all of you are going to continue to lie to yourselves, that you are speaking to one sky daddy, is giving you one vision and the rest of that, you are never going to be in any way different from your parents. Our parents believe so much in Nigeria. Breaking up of Nigeria wasn't that appealing to some of them. And listen to me, some of them are dead. Some of them are still alive. Oh, today, a lot of them have regretted that they didn't support the breakup of Nigeria when the Nigerian genocidal war, the Biafra war they called it, happened. I mean, I know some of you watching me right now, you were adults. Some of you even participated in the war, maybe not by carrying guns, but in your own way, supporting the troop who were going after those they called the rebels. The Igbos wanted to leave. They wanted to leave. And Nigeria said they couldn't leave. 5 million women and children were killed in order to keep them in Nigeria. For what? To continue to be part of this shege, the Nigeria shege, that is not serving anybody. So yeah, let's continue to pretend that your prayers is going to fix Nigeria, that your election is going to fix Nigeria. Keep trying out the same thing you've tried all the time. So it's not on you, it's not on me. I want Nigeria to break up. I want every nation in that country to have their own independence enough to decide and determine how they actually really want to exist. Now, that option was never given to our forefathers. It was never given to those before us. And we are demanding for it right now, but rather, we are being called or being led to the slaughter. It's like a death sentence. But no matter how long they try to make you think, it is not going to happen. Their actions, everyday action, is in fact leading Nigeria to that precipice. We are just trying to see if it's not going to be violence. But it seems it's going to be. They say when you want a peaceful change, if you make peaceful change impossible, you will make a violent change inevitable. None of this is in our control. The greed of this ruling class will eventually make that happen. But if you don't want it to be violent, you should begin to read into the positivity, the advantage of a broken up Nigeria. Please start looking into it. I mean, this time around, there is so much merit than the demerit that they are telling you about. A lot of them are saying, when Nigeria break up, Nigeria will lose the advantage of being the biggest black nation on earth. Nigeria will lose the giant of Africa status. Nigeria have already lost all of this. They are not real, okay? Instead of being the biggest black nation on earth, Nigeria has become the biggest black burden to the rest of the black people all over the world. That's what Nigeria has become. No thanks to these criminal politicians who continue to do the same thing. They will never change. And the more they do this, the more they push us to that inevitable state. Or it's only that when that happens, right? Don't blame yourself. Don't blame me. In fact, somebody like myself will make sense to you more than that I am not the enemy. The real enemy are those who are telling you one Nigeria on this hand. The Igbos cannot be trusted and they will never be president of or lead Nigeria on the other hand. So what is now one about that? I mean, that's Nigeria. So fool me once. It's my fault. I mean, it's your fault. Fool me twice. Then that is my fault. So maybe you should see it that way too. Before you grow old, full of regrets. I mean, full of regrets. Like those we call our elders today. They are old, tired, some of them weak. They don't have that mental strength anymore. And a lot of them are looking back and saying, we wished we supported the Igbos when they wanted to break up in 1967. Maybe if we had let the Igbos leave, a lot of other nations would have probably lived as well. And who knows? Maybe the destiny of Nigeria wouldn't be this horrible and terrible. The future of Nigeria will probably not be as bleak as this. So I'm not going to wait till I am 80 or 90 by living a lie in my adulthood, telling myself that Nigeria is going to get better when I actually see those who are destroying her, those who are going to make that great, better Nigeria impossible, parading themselves as your leaders. I'm not going to pretend. I'm going to do this for the sake of the younger people. So I'm not going to wait till I am 80 years old and I'm going to be regretting and say, and I thought Nigeria was going to work, and I thought Nigeria was going to be better. You, these young people, it's now over to you to make sure that you make Nigeria better. We are old now. We are going. I'm sorry, Charade, my older audience. I'm sorry for the blinking as well. Okay, I intentionally didn't want to change the battery. I want to use that plug-in and see how long or how many times the blinking happened, and it has happened many times. Okay, so I have aged citizens who are the brethren and the temple of truth, following MaiyegunsDiary Politico, and indeed, a lot of them will tell you, if they had a chance of going back to 1960s, they would support the Biafrans to have their country. If they knew that Nigeria was going to become what it is now, when they were younger, they wouldn't have supported the propaganda that saw to the killings of over 5 million people. I don't want to be older. I don't want to grow old. I'm full of that regret. I'll see you some other time. Good night.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. MaiyegunDiary Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. MaiyegunDiary Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. MaiyegunDiary Maiyegun number one. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. MaiyegunDiary Maiyegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí. MaiyegunDiary Maiyegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. MaiyegunDiary Maiyegun number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Maiyegun máa wí. MaiyegunDiary Maiyegun number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. MaiyegunDiary Maiyegun number one. MaiyegunDiary Politico. MaiyegunDiary kẹgbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu.
MaiyegunDiary na him be number one.
àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
MaiyegunDiary na him be number one.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé.
ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
lórí Facebook.
Maiyegun ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
ọlọ́pàá tí ń gba rìbá.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o àyè.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
kì máa yí ṣeré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣẹ̀fẹ̀ kì máa yí ṣeré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣẹ̀fẹ̀ ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run sọ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. èèpo ọ̀gọ̀lọ́mọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà àìsíwọ̀lú ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì o ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.